let me stand for this word. Take these shoes off. Before we begin, I would like to pray. If everybody would stand in agreements with me for the prayer, because some of you know I'm going through some health things, but that's all right. Heavenly Father, I come to you today, Father, just asking you to use me, Father. Use every single inch of me, Father, from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet, Lord. Lord, I ask that you remove me and anything that may prevent me from getting your word out of the way, Father. I ask that you open up ear gates and eye gates, Father, so the Holy Spirit may be able to come in and touch him and move him, Father. Father, I ask that you prepare the meal, Father, and let them digest of it, Father. Let them take part of it, Father. Let them engulf it, Father. Let them get the true meaning of what it is that you prepared today, Father. Remove me, Father. Let it not be about me, Father, but let it all be about you. And I welcome the Holy Spirit, Father, to come in and to have this way, Father, to shift the atmosphere and to transfer lives, Lord. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, in Jesus' name, amen. I have to get me out of the way because I got a lot going on. And as I was preparing the word, the first thing I would like to do, I just would like to honor all the grandmothers in the house and grandfathers, because this month is grandparents. It's to celebrate grandparents. And so originally when I was coming to give the word, I was supposed to be doing a poem in honor of grandparents, but then it switched and we started talking about legacy. And God did he was really working with me on this as far as legacy, because when you think about your grandparents, you think about the good things. Grandparents are just wonderful. You think about the things that you've gotten from them and that you received them and what have you learned. And according to the dictionary, legacy is anything handed down from the past. And so it's something that has been bequeathed upon you. And so I got to thinking about all the things that my grandmother/mother had given me. Recently, I learned doing some studies that when your grandmother is pregnant with your mother, she actually carries you in her womb. Because you are the woman that's given all the eggs that she will ever be given. And so grandmother actually carries 2 generations. And so we get to thinking about what's been handed down, far as DNA, far as, characteristics, far as your eyes are brown, but you also, sometime in the midst of it, and God is changing it as I speak, sometime in the midst of it, you get to thinking about some other things too, because some of us got some stuff that was handed down that wasn't quite so right. Proverbs 13:22 tells us that a good person leaves an inheritance for their children, but a sinner wealth is stirred up for the righteousness. So in other words, as I said, the grandparents, my parents' parents have things to give me. And so when you think about that, when we start talking about inheritance, we start talking about materialistic things. We start looking for tangible items that we can touch, things that we can actually feel. But when we start thinking about your legacy, I want you to remember that the legacy is what you and your future generation of your lineage will be remembered for. What most of us remember is driven by what we directly see, the key principles that we get and were told throughout history. And so some of that affects us greater than what it should. Derogatory, thank you, Auntie. 4:9 says, but watch out. Be careful never to forget what you yourself have seen. Do not let these memories escape from your mind as long as you live. And be sure to pass them on to your children and grandchildren. So in other words, the teaching, the education is to be passed throughout the generations. So it's supposed to be handed down from Big Mama, handed down to Little John, handed down. You're supposed to give it to the cousins and everything and stuff. So whatever you learn, you're supposed to hand that down. knowledge and education are key things that people don't correlate with God. And I don't know why. Because Proverbs 1:7 tells us, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and instruction. And so I get to thinking about my own relationship that was handed down to me. I got to thinking about how many times your mother or your grandmother told you to do something and you didn't necessarily do it the way you were supposed to. But my God, how many times He tell us to do things and we don't do it the way we're supposed to? So when you get to thinking about the education and you get to thinking about, well, this is what I know and this is who I am, you get to thinking about, well, do I know all that I'm really supposed to know about the family education, about the family history? I know in my own family, I was telling Pastor this morning how grateful I am for her and her family, because God sent me to her a couple of years ago to learn about being a woman of God. And I didn't quite understand when God said, go be with Pastor Maxine and learn about being a woman of God. But my family history was tainted. I tell people all the time, by the time I got 12, I thought that all children go to prison. Because I had been visiting every prison. I had been to Lucasville, I had been to Chillicothe, I had been to Mansville, I had been to Marysville, because our family was that type of family. And so I thought that that is what other children did. And so as throughout my life, my family had a reputation of being a black sheep. How many of y'all had that reputation in your family before and stuff? People can't look past and see who God has called you to be because they keep looking at what the family did. So instead of looking at legacy in a good way, they keep thinking, well, we already know what your family is, so they just kind of rope you up and all the other mess that was going on. And so a lot of people were saying that I wasn't necessarily supposed to be right here where I'm standing before you today. The devil is a liar. Sometimes even when Pastor called me, I was looking like, who's she talking to? Because I didn't necessarily believe that this was where I was supposed to be, because my family legacy didn't have one of ministers and people preaching the gospel and following the word. We had some other stuff going on. We had some prostitution going on. We had some drug use going on. See, I'll tell my business. I will tell my business and put it out there because I like how God has transformed my life. He has done a work in me. Listen. And so what I learned throughout this is what happens when the education gets tampered with. And I say that because we all come from a place, but we only really look with our eyes. And I tell people, if you only look with your eyes, you'll be blinded. Because you only see as far as your eyes can see. I see what's in front of me and maybe that next generation. But see, I don't see all the way back to Abraham. I don't see back when God was telling me I was the apple of his eye. I just see right then and there, and right then and there might be tempered and tainted. So when the education gets tainted and it gets tampered with, what do? We pass along a tainted and tampered history. And so as we stand before, I think about, like I said, I think about what my mama learned me, but at the same time, I think about how that's changed throughout the years. The things that she used to do, boil the water for the baby. Now they buy the water, the spring water in the little thing and stuff. You can just buy it in the stores and stuff. And how, you wash the bathtub out and stuff. You didn't use all them chemicals. Sometimes you use some old baking soda. Yeah, I'm going way, way back and stuff. But we don't do that no more. We look for instant gratification. We don't turn the TV off when we have our dinners no more. We sit in front of it, or we eat on the go. We ask the kids, did you eat something? And they say, yeah, but they ain't did nothing but took a piece of chicken with them running out the door. We ain't sitting our kids down and making them have quiet time. Even I tell people all the time, people laugh at me because people got a problem with religion. I tell them religion teach discipline. You talking about why your child ain't sitting down. You ain't took your child nowhere to sit down. How your child sitting down? You ain't took them nowhere to sit down. And so all that is a part of that education. But the instant gratification that the world has given us have shifted us out of what God's promise is for our lives. Romans 12:2 tells us, do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transferred by renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. How many of y'all ever thought about what God's will was? Does anybody just sit here, because I know people go through some things. You go through some things. Me and you had talked about it a little bit. You go through some things, and when you go through some things, you start thinking God will forsake you because you went through some things. You start thinking, how can he love me? I'm going through all of this. Lord, I just don't even understand. I'm broken down. I can't trust him. All because you're going through some things. When the word tells you, you're going to go through some things. It tells you will experience some things. But it also tells you to have the faith of a mustard seed. Now, I know you're wondering, what this got to do with legacy? See, you can change your legacy. If you change your education, if you change your train of thought, if you align it to God's will and to God's promise, and you get in alignment with his word, you can change your legacy. You don't have to be what they told you was. You don't have to be a criminal. You don't have to be a prostitute. You don't have to be, I'm going to say it, dirty Diana or whatever. You don't have to be out here sleazing and stealing from people, because God called you for a greater purpose. You ain't got to be a thought. You ain't got to be a bop. You ain't got to be none of that. Because God has already said, I called you for a time such as this. But the problem is, we won't get in alignment with God's will. I don't understand it. We want to do what we want to do. We want to rebel. And then when we go through things and God discipline us, we want to know, God, why I'm going through this. But you ain't thought about what you want to do yourself. You talking about, I just can't get it together. They just ain't acting right. And I just got these things going on and stuff. But at the same time, you still trying to be slick. You still trying to do. Sometimes you can't be slick. I learned that myself recently. Sometimes you can't be slick. Sometimes you can't keep doing stuff. You just got to get right sometimes. You don't want to, but you got to get right. You got to align yourself and put yourself in God's presence. You think you got it going on. And what really get me is when things do start going right, things do start aligning, God do start showing you favor, you start going back to doing what you want to do. I don't understand this. I don't understand it. So you like, wait a minute. Now I'm right here. Oh, God, you're showing me favor. All this good stuff is happening to me. But then you like, I don't need them no more. I don't need them no more. When when you're going through some things, you in here, your face on the ground. Your face on the ground when you're going through some things. You in your secret place when you're going through some things. You want to spend time with pastor when you're going through some things. Soon as you come out of some things and some things seem to go all right, you ain't got time for the church. You don't want to hear from the saints. And then you're talking about, well, my legacy, it ain't acting right. Well, that's what you're talking. That's what you're doing. So you can't half step with God. You can't halfway in and halfway out. When you halfway deliver, he halfway deliver. And then you want to get back. No, he's an all-in God. He wants to pull you 100% in and stuff. But then the other thing is, when something happens, don't turn your back on God. Don't be talking about, I tried that God thing, this ain't working. Soon as it don't go your way, you do this. Let me go on back out here. Because I ain't tried the God thing. I tried to do what he said he was going to do. Let me tell you. I couldn't understand. Yes, that's faith. That's faith. I thought about my pastor, because my pastor been preaching on faith. That is activation of faith. I saw my mama lose 7 children. I never seen her turn her faith against God. I was upset. I was mad. I got people now, for some of you all know, I have been diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer. People want to know how I can get up and praise him the way that I do. I don't understand how you thought I would do anything else. Hallelujah. Because his promise, see, I'm creating something new for my legacy. See, so I asked God while I was going through this, that when people saw me going through this, that they see me in a certain way. That they didn't see me bowed down and broken up. They see me with the grace and the humbleness that he gave me. Because I wanted my legacy. I wanted my legacy to have that. See, I already had seen what my mama had did in her legacy. But then, and really she was my grandma. Going back to the grandparents. But then when it got to the generation of my mama and them, they was kind of a broke down generation. They was, as I said, in and out of prison and, begging and bumming and stuff. Instead of being, lenders, they wanted to be the borrowers. Instead of being the head, they wanted to be the tail and stuff. But see, I said to God when I decided he was going to take, or he decided he was going to take me through this journey, God, let me give an example to show my kids too. I called them all here today. I called this one, my leader. I called Ashley. I called my sister because I wanted them to see what God was setting me up for. See, this legacy gonna be different. This legacy ain't going out on knees and crying and stuff. We going standing in the word of the God because that's what he's proclaiming. It's all about him. And so, as I said, I was reading the word. And I was like, well, God, and he did some things with me through this word. He had to get me together because sometimes you forget from which you came from. People see me now and they're like, oh, Miss Flo, somebody told me the other day I was church. They said, you return church to church. I said, yeah, I'm church to church. And they said, what that mean? I said, I urge the Holy Spirit in wherever I'm at. I'm in Crocus. I said, come on in, Spirit. I go to Chick-fil-A. I'm like, oh, bless the chicken. Wherever I'm at, right there. I spend so much time in Kroger's doing praise and worship. Everybody in Kroger's and Coreyville know me and stuff. That's on my own personal church. I be in there ministering all up and down the aisles. Mike can tell you, I go to Kroger's to get 5 atoms. It take me an hour. Because I touched everybody. I ministered to them and stuff. And so God had to say to me, but keep reminding him about my promise, because that's how you change your legacy. You get to know my promise. Brother David, I'm going to ask you to put this up on the screen because it touched me so much this morning. Isaiah 43, 1 and 7. New Living. It touched me. It touched me. It moved me this morning and stuff. My husband woke up. I was telling him about it. I had seen pieces of this verse, but had never really seen the whole thing. It touched me because I knew then, no matter what happened to me through this journey, that my legacy was going to be all right because I had planted a seed for my kids based off of what God had promised for me. See, you can't do no legacy based off of what you want. You can't do no legacy based off of riches and materialistic things. You can't do no legacy off of man education. You got to get in a relationship with God and know what his promise is. Because see, a lot of us know about God, but we don't know what he promises. So when I ask God for stuff, I ain't asking him for nothing out of the blue. I'm asking for what he told me he was going to give me. That's what his promise said. So when I pray to God, I give it back to him like that. Well, this is what you said. So I ain't making this up. I ain't pulling it out of thin air, God. I'm getting this from you. And so Isaiah 43, 1 and 7, it's so powerful. It's so powerful. It's when I read it this morning, I started reading it last night, but when I read it this morning, it really kind of shifted. Oh my God, it just shifted me some. Because I was like, oh, wait a minute. He called me by name. Wait, everyone who was called by my name. What? My ear was like this morning. Like, wait a minute, God, I hear you. I hear you. And see, some of us don't realize that our legacy has already been called by him. So it don't matter how much the education and the teaching got tampered with. I know you've been through some things. I know maybe somebody did something inappropriately. Maybe you was living in a time without no gas and electric and stuff. Maybe, your car was broke down. You was struggling back and forth. He didn't say it was going to be no struggle. He did not say that it was not going to be hard. What he said was he would be with you throughout the end of days. And that promise enough ought to be along with us. See, y'all want to get mad when God disappeared for a few minutes, or you fail because he don't never disappear when he ain't answering you. And then when Johnny and them left you all on your own and stuff, and ain't nobody paying your bills and stuff, ain't nobody said nothing about that. Ain't nobody said nothing about that. When Big Sister stole the money and stuff, and you'll let her back in and stuff. But as soon as you get mad at God, you don't want to let God back in. I don't understand that. I told Pastor, they keep talking about church hurt. Hurt people hurt people. How you mad at church hurt And everybody else hurting you and you all right with them. You know, you got women out here getting beat up and stuff, creating a legacy, but you all right going back with him. But soon as God lets you go through some things, you ain't all right with that. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I don't know. And then you want to know why your legacy's so weak. You want to know why your legacy's so weak. I don't understand it. Okay, let's see. Isaiah, I'm going to do the whole thing, David, starting at 1. That's all right if you ain't got it up there because I got it on my paper. I had to write it out. He who created you, Jacob, he who formed you is real. Do not fear, for I have redeemed you. Do you hear what I say? He has redeemed you. I have summoned you by name. You are mine. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you. When you walk through the fires, you will not be burned. I say it again. When you walk through the fires, you will not be burned. The flames will not set you ablaze. For I am the Lord your God, the Holy One of Israel, your Savior. I gave Egypt for your ransom, Cush and Sheba in your stead. Since you are precious and honored in my sight, and because I love you, I will give people in exchange for you, nations in exchange for your life. Do not be afraid, for I am with you. I will bring your children from the east and gather you from the west. I will say from the north, give them up, and from the south, give them back. Bring my sons from afar and my daughters from the end of the earth. Everyone who is called by my name, who I created for my glory, whom I formed and made. So in other words, if he made you, he called you for a purpose. If he made you, he called you for a purpose. The purpose that he called you for is greater than what you'll ever know. So in other words, it don't matter how much your education was tempered with. It just don't. It just don't. He already said who you were going to be. He already said, I called you for my purpose. He didn't say you weren't going to have no hurt. He didn't say that you weren't going to go down the hole a little bit. But what he said was, I made and I formed you. You are entitled to certain things. And so through this journey, as I developed my legacy, what I learned was God said that I was entitled to be at peace. And so I am at peace with everything that's going on with me. I am at peace with, not because it don't hurt me. I am in peace with the pain in my body that I feel because I know God is with me. I am at peace with going through the chemo. Even though I might not understand it, it ain't up to my understanding. I'm at peace with losing the family members because I know I got a good God and I know he's going to bring people in my life to fill the void. See, once you know what God has promised you, once you know that everything he do, and I had it here, I don't know where it went, but it's in Romans, it say he worked everything according to my good. I know you're wondering, how can it be for my good? I'm going through all this. God, it feel like I'm going through hell sometime, Lord. How can it work according to my good? Everything that you go through ain't for you. I know you're wondering like, well, Lord, why I got to be the one who go through it? When I first started going through this, I was really scared. I was scared that I was going to leave my children because they are so very precious to me. Now that I have been through treatment, I know that there are far worse things than death that can occur to a person. And so my legacy will not be one of, she ended up getting killed. No, she fought it. My tag lady, I always tell people, fabulously fighting the battle. And the reason why I'm fabulous in fighting the battle, because I got a good God. I got a God that said that my legacy will be greater than what I ever could be. I got a God that said I'm out here touching and moving people. I got a God that will shift my atmosphere. I got a God that said you're not part of that what they used to be. Your old man is died and new. We don't care. I was telling Mother this morning how still some people say, that's Flo that worked at the Nugget. And I keep looking at them like, yeah, that was me. But see, they don't know that old man died. And this new man that said me now, I'm the, listen. I got to watch it. My family, they think I'm going to get too much, but I'm like, you can't praise him enough for the Holy Spirit. Listen. Get your life in alignment. You see, my desire My desire is to be like David, a man after God's own heart. And I want the generation in my lineages to be the same. But that means I have to be able to pass on a good teaching and a good lesson. That means that I got to start planting God's seeds. That means can't transfer myself to the way of the world. That means just because everybody else kids is doing, mine ain't allowed to do it. That means I got to pull, you're gone too far, come on back in. That means I got to iron sharpen iron and tell the truth sometimes. Some things that you might not want to hear, but because it's for your benefit and because I love you, I'm going to tell you. Because I want to be like David. I want to be like David so much I can't stand it. I want him, when he look at me, he want to say, you know that Florence was a girl after my own heart. Lord, she was a woman after my own heart. She went through some things, but she gave me the praises. She had some hinges removed, but she still, y'all know about them hinges removed. See, some of y'all don't know that when them hinges, God like tell them about it. When the hinges get removed, that's God giving permission, because sometimes he want to see how faithful you gonna be. So you think you're going through a lot in God, and because can't nothing happen to you that God ain't allowed to happen to you. So when God say, remove the hinges and stuff get to happening to you, sometimes God is trying to help you with your lineage. Because you can pass this stuff on down to your kids. You can't talk about nothing if you ain't been through nothing. And so next time them hinges get removed, don't think about, God, you're allowing me to go through. God, what is you preparing me to tell somebody else? Because see, some of y'all don't know that y'all gonna have a testimony for somebody else. Y'all gonna tell somebody how you got through the mother who had some issues, how you dealt with the losing of the child, how you was out on your own and your lights was going. Some of y'all gonna have to tell somebody something. But that means you got to plant the seed, which means you got to get in alignment with his word. I don't have to be what was passed down to me. The real legacy comes from God. The real legacy is that God already says what I am. He already tells me that I'm the descendant of Abraham. I'm the apple of his eye. And because of that, I know who I am. I know who I'm called to be. If you want your legacy to change, learn who it is you've been called to be.